Good morning, guys. I am very excited to bring you something that I've been working on for quite some time. I'm just going to log on and make sure that I can share this over into the creative group and give you guys a second to get popped on. Let's see. Oh, good morning, Kathy. Hi, how are you? Let's see. I'm trying to find... It's always when you're live that you can't find, this computer stuff. I can do box math. I can't do computers. It's all good. But you know what? We do it anyway, and that's what it's all about. Okay, here we go. Share. Ha! I did it. Thank you. I love having long hair because I can put up a ponytail. So, thank you. Let's see. All right, here we go. Yay, I get to see everybody. Oh, I am so grateful for you as well. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I am so excited to share with you guys this morning because I came up with a way to finally decode box math. I don't know, we did these at the meeting, and so maybe you guys can help me. I was making ornaments out of the, the wood pieces, and I drill a hole in it, and it's probably, half an inch thick. And when I drill a hole in it, the whole thing snaps apart. So essentially, I wanted to make a box to fit the ornament that I didn't make because it didn't fit. because I keep breaking them. But these are my boxes for that particular ornament. So that's where the idea started. I think that when you're packaging up your Christmas, you should be able to make a cute box. In addition, I like when the box doesn't necessarily go all the way to the bottom. It's pretty if it does, and it can, but I like this decorative thing that the box can sit on top and have a ledge. So are you with me so far? So that's why I wanted to make a worksheet that would allow you to do the top and the bottom. Now, let me just say to start off with, the bottom, no matter what you're cutting, will be similar to the top, except that the bottom has to be about 1/16 of an inch smaller. So the first thing we'll do is we'll start by cutting just a little smidge, which is like one line on your paper cutter. So this is my new trimmer, and I'm going to bring it in nice and tight so you can see it. But you just cut like one line up, and that's 1/16 of an inch because there are 16 lines between the 1 inch marker. Okay, so that's the first thing. So this needs to be smaller. If you forget, don't throw it away. You can make this a tiny bit bigger by 1/16 of an inch, and it would work the same. So you could maneuver that. In the beginning, I would just get frustrated and toss the box if I forgot to trim the 1/16 of an inch. But that's the most important thing. Okay, so I got a few things to share with you. This week, I'm going to be releasing a leftover class from, I did a retreat up in Vermont, and I prepped 16 packets of a Stamp-A-Stack featuring these cards. And this was, let's see, you could go this way or this way and make 6. And then this was a fun fold that came out of the designer paper. And there'll be a video and some real basic directions for this one, but you would need the snowman stamp set, and then there's a stamp set in the book, and I'll put it in the posting, that Glory to God in the Highest from Luke. When I woke up with this card in my head, and you would make 6 of these, 3 of these, 6 your choice, you can go either way, and then 3 of these. And all the snowmen have been punched, but you would need to stamp a few. There's one using the little guy, and let it snow. Now, if you didn't have these, you could easily substitute with something you do have. And but it's a Stamp-A-Stack, and there are only 13 packets prepped. I am in the process of taking it from a 12 by 12 down to a 6 by 6 so that I can mail it out. So that will be first come, first serve around Black Friday. It'll probably be my Black Friday special. So that's a quick commercial break. All right, so let's do the box math. I'm gonna flip the camera. Don't get dizzy. Ready? Here we go. Whoop. It's way better if I just cover it up with my hands so that we can't make a mistake. All right, so my friend James, well, actually, I'll show you a little bit from the meeting first. We made these Christmas tags, and they're from the kit. And I actually took half of the tags and created cards. So they come like this, and then I just sliced the inside off and made a card with it. And I tied that into a bow because it was kind of funny just hanging there. You can tie it onto Christmas packaging, obviously. But these are really adorable. And I went back to the main catalog to make the cute box. And this just came out of the 6 by 6 designer paper stack in these coordinating colors, shaded spruce and poppy. Anyway, something you should know about creating these tags is the stickers are a little bit frustrating. So they come on a transfer sheet, and you have just enough to make your 30 tags. And one thing that we learned is you got to push down, and then you pull this back and then lift. So once these little things come out, then you can really lift it off. But if you like lift before the things come out, it's frustrating. So get those little bobbers out of there, the little rectangles. Whoa, and then pull. And then it comes off easy. And see, I still have a rectangle in there, but then this thing just gets pointed up like that. And then they're easier to put down. Like some people got real frustrated with them. So that's my suggestion. Don't lift, peel this back till you get the edge of it. So that's a little tip for you. Anyway, it's the cutest kit ever, and I've put together about 3 of them or 4 of them. So at the meeting, my good friend James also shared how to make these crazy ornaments. And honestly, they are so difficult to make. So it looks, I don't know if I'd ever try it. He found the directions on mypaperpixie.com. But I thought, since my wooden ornament thing wasn't working, that I would show you this ornament, because it's what he brought to the meeting. I actually traded him by making him a box, which is pretty funny. But what I want to do is, I want to see how big my box needs to be. So this ornament is about 2 3/4 inches square. And I want a 3-inch square box so that I can give it as a gift, okay? So I'm going to bring in this worksheet that we designed, and right in the worksheet, I put that we cut a 1/16 of an inch to start, right? So we determined that we want the inside to be 3 inches for our box. We want it to be 3 inches wide so that when it sits in the box, it'll fit, right? And then it also needs to be about 3 inches tall, and it's probably 2 3/4, but I'm giving it an extra 1/4 inch because I want to make sure that I have room to put the cute tag inside, right? So 3 inches tall. So the inside is 3 inches, the height is 3 inches all the way around. So now with my box math worksheet, I can see that the top of my box is going to need to be 3 inches wide and 3 inches tall. It's going to need to be 9 inches. Now, the bottom of the box, this is about 1 inch, or actually this is 3/4. But I want the new box, this box, to be about 1 inch tall. So I'm going to cut 1 inch, 1 inch. So that's how tall the sides of my top is. And then, of course, it's a 3-inch box, okay? So now I know that 3, 4, 5, my paper needs to be cut 9 by 5. No, yeah, 9. So the bottom of the box needs to be cut 9 by 9, because this is a square box, and the top needs to be cut 5 by 5. I need to wake up. More coffee. Insert more coffee. So let's bring in the paper trimmer. This is a new Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer. And it's really cool. It's got a cutter blade and a score blade. And you guys all know that the score blade is the lighter touch. So that is a lighter blade. So just by looking at it, we know which one is which. All right, here we go. And I extended the arm. I wish I could move my camera up a little bit, but I'll just adjust where I am so you guys can see. But I'm gonna put my, to make this work, 9 by 9, I need to go up to a 12 by 12 paper, which is fine. It's what I want for the box that matters. And I'm gonna put this on 9 and cut. Although I need to remember the bottom of my box, I need to take a 1/16 of an inch off. So I'm gonna come back just a little bit before the 9 for the bottom of the box. And like I said, if you forget that, it's not that big a deal. You just make the top a little bigger. But it's easier if you make the bottom smaller. This will just make it so that the bottom fits on. Okay, so that's where we start. Now, 9 by 9 is where my paper needs to be cut. Yay, so my box is gonna be square. Now, I want my sides to stand up and I want them to be scored at 3 inches all the way around. So I'm gonna start, I'm gonna go up the top here. I'm dropping stuff off the table because I'm gonna use the whole table. I always joke, I'll use the whole road when I drive. I paid my taxes. I'm gonna put this on the 3-inch line, and this new paper cutter has a 3-inch line all the way down, so I can really check and make sure that I am on the 3. And my blade just popped out a little bit. It's because it came out where you changed the blade, and if that happens to you, you just have to pop it down in. But I'm gonna do the 2 sides first and score it 3 and 3. We are gonna score all the way around at 3, but the reason I do 2 sides first is I'm gonna go back in on the cross section, and when I'm doing the cross section, there's no reason why I can't cut as well. So I'm gonna take my, and I hope you can see this, I'm gonna take my blade and come up to where I just scored. So I scored at 3 inches going this way, and now I'm using those lines to come down and cut at the 3-inch marker. So I really only have to do the paper cutter thing once, and I won't really need to go in crazy with my scissors. Okay, so actually here, I actually want to score first, but it doesn't matter. And there's a line here, so I can see where my score mark is, and it lines up, but I need to lift, come back down and cut, and then... So now I've cut and scored all at the same time for my box bottom. And this one we trimmed a 1/16 of an inch, so we'll bring that worksheet back in so it makes sense. And then we take our time. You really want to take a bone folder to this and get your lines all creased perfect. I'm going to actually trim the inside of the box. So when I'm making the bottom of the box, I like to trim my edges on the inside so that if, when I go to put the box together like this, there's any extra, that the extra comes off the inside. So I'm gonna actually trim the inside of the bottom. And then when we make the top of the box, I'm gonna trim it different, but I like to trim the inside here. And this is just like, you can see, it's just, I'm not messing with the integrity of the box. The only thing that I'm messing with is the flap. So when it goes together, if there's an overlap, it doesn't, geez. It didn't look right there for a second. Woohoo! Only when you're live, right? Okay, so. Okay. So for the sake of time, I'm gonna bring in a heavy duty tape runner. I would recommend using fast fuse or tear and tape for this. If you use liquid glue, it works great. It just takes an extra second to set up. And then you're gonna bring this in. And if you make the box a little tiny bit smaller on the inside, that's okay. You can always trim the flaps. Anything that's not perfect, take care of it right now. And that's just because it's such a tight little box. We're gonna make a bigger box and you'll see how they, this is really tall for me. Let's see. But that's the bottom of the box, okay? So we've got the 3 by 3 by 3. We cut our paper 9 by 9, easy enough, right? So to match our ornament, I grabbed some of this designer paper with the stripes, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna cut our paper 5 by 5 now. So I'm gonna bring it down here, 5, I think it's already 5 inches the other way. Yep. So I had already made a different box cover, but this one's straight on, so we don't need to cut any extra. It's just 5 by 5. And now I can score it at 1 inch. And with this paper cutter, there's actually 1 inch on both sides. So I don't necessarily have to go to the other side. This is easier in some cases. So that's, I did one side, and now I'm gonna do the other side. And then the same thing, when it's in the paper cutter, if I can see where I'm going, because sometimes this is tricky, when I go to score the other side, I can cut at the same time to avoid having to cut it. So we'll score it first at 1 inch. Ooh, I felt a little cut there, and then I'm gonna use my fingers. It's like Braille to find the little marker. Let me get back on the 1. And then roughly about there. We're just doing this quick this morning, so it's gonna be okay. Well, we don't get it perfect. But down 1 inch or so, up 1 inch or so. Brailing. Okay, and then we'll score it at 1 inch. Good stuff. So I might need to cut that a little bit because I was being chicken. It's harder to see on the designer paper, granted. Yeah, this one I'll need to trim, which isn't a big deal. So we'll just come in and trim. Now for the top of the box, when I do my trimmings, I'm gonna trim a little bit different. I'm gonna trim the outsides because these flaps are gonna go in and under. And if anything's gonna get caught, it's gonna be this piece sticking out. So I'll just trim the outside for the top of the box. Woohoo! All right. And again, for time's sake, I'm just using this. I love tear and tape and the liquid glue for these, but I just wanted to make sure that we'd get through it in a reasonable amount of time. So these, you can purposely make a little bit wider if you want, because we know it's going over the top. So rather than square it completely up, you can even go past a little bit. And because we trimmed those edges, you can't see. But this works with any size square box, this particular worksheet. Ha, in theory. There we go. And it's super thick because the bottom has all of that cardstock, but it's a super snug fit. And moreover, my ornament fits inside. So now I have a box for the first type of ornament, this size box. And then I have a box for this. Now, this week I had met a new customer, and she placed a very decent size order on my website, and I wanted to gift her a stamp set. So now I wanted to make her a box that would fit this beautiful stamp set. And the square box math kind of goes out the window, right? Because my box isn't 3 by 3 and I need my paper to be different on different sides. So we created a new worksheet. And again, the bottom, we're gonna cut a 1/16 off the edges. And I wanna show you, I'll show you that it does exist. It's that here's the finished box. So coming in, and let me get some of this stuff out of my way. I know that my stamp set is a little bit smaller than 8 inches tall. So I wanted my box to be 8 inches by 5.5 inches tall. And then let's take a look at the box again. And we made it 1.5 inches tall. So the height of the box is going to be 1.5, 1.5. So this will give you where to cut your paper. So if we add all of this up, it's 11. And if we add all of this up, it's 8.5. So we actually don't even need to cut a piece of paper for a stamp set box. But if for some reason I went over 8.5 by 11, I could either go up to 12 by 12 paper and use that to cut my box like we did on the first one, or I could adjust the height of my box to make it fit into the 8.5 by 11 because it's all custom. You decide how big you want your box. So the top, we know that measurement. We want it to be 8 by 5.5. And I think I made it 1 inch. So this one would be a little bit different. This would be 7.5 by 8, 9, 10. Okay. So are we clear on this? Just shout it out when you're, oh, I got 19 new comments. Oh, okay. So that's a good one. Laura, I wanted to score at how tall my box is. So all the way around so we did this. I knew I wanted a 3 by 3. So in both cases, we score at how tall we want the side to be. Okay? Good question. All right. So this is kind of like cool because once you have the sheet, you can even make your own little sheets, but I wanted to make something that you could easily print out and then have to reuse. Okay, so we're gonna start with the rectangle again. And remember, in order for this to work, we need to cut 1/16 of an inch off 2 sides. So let's go in for the bottom for the rectangle, and all I'm gonna do for this one, and rather than try and measure or anything, I'm gonna go a little bit past and just cut a little off. It's gonna be okay if it's not an exact 1/16. This might actually even be an 1/8. It's fine. I'm gonna pull that out, come in, and you just go past where the little groove on your paper cutter is and cut like a little tiny piece off. So 8.5 by 11 is, I wrote 1.5. 8.5, no, it was right, 1.5. Now I'm getting confused. 8.5 by 11 was the size of my paper. So this is what I cut my paper to. So my designer paper for the top of the box, so that I have that cute little lip, needs to be 1 inch shorter, and this is what I cut my paper to. So let's do that while we have the paper cutter. So this is 10 by 7.5. I'm sorry if I go outside the frame for this, but I'm running out of space on the table. So I'm gonna cut it at 7.5 first. This is that cute designer paper that's Christmas Rose, and it's only available for a limited time. It's got a gold shine in it that just makes me happy. And I think I'm almost out of it, actually. I've used every shred of it. I'm going to probably get another pack or two. Instead of coming 6 designs, you get 3 designs of this one, and you get 4 of each. So I like that because more is better. Okay, so this one I cut based on what the template said, 10 by 7.5. So we've got our top and our bottom, and then I can get some of this other stuff off the table. Yay. Let's just throw it on the floor. Perfect. I didn't really, but that's funny. Okay, so we're going to come back in to our math worksheet, and Laura, here's where you go. We're going to score at 1.5 all the way around. But again, to make our base bottom, it's going to be a little bit easier if I score at 1.5 on 2 sides. So let's do this. And again, the 1.5 marker, I can see with this new paper cutter, there's a line all the way up. So 1.5 and 1.5. Now on this side, when we do 1.5, we have those markers, right? So I can do my cutting at the same time, and I don't need to fuss with scissors. So I can come down to where I scored it. And forgive me, I have to stand up so I can see the line. It's way easier to see it on the one that doesn't have designer paper. But see how I just came right up to where the line is? And then I can lift this, come down the line to the 1.5 and cut the bottom like that. So now I've done the cutting and the scoring at the same time, and I cut a little bit further in, but that's what happens when you're doing the paper cut or mambo, standing up, sitting down. All right, so I'm going to score here, and then I'm going to cut down to the 1.5. So again, the reason that we did it at 1.5 was because that's how tall we want the bottom of the box to be. And then we'll lift and come down. Okay. Can you add that to the worksheet? Oh yeah, I'm sure we can. No sweat. So my daughter is in the process of developing an app for this, and she's already got a prototype for it that you can put it in your computer or on your phone and type in the measurements that you want, and that it will pop out where you need to score and how big to cut the paper, which is pretty awesome. All right. So next I am going to, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't trim the inside like we did last time. So let's give those a little cut, and it's no big deal. The adhesive's there. We'll pull those little sections out. Doesn't have to be perfect. These little tabs get pushed underneath, so they don't need to be straight or anything. It's just nice to tighten it up and make it. And I don't even mind going past where the where it's 90 degrees for the bottom of the box and making it purposely a little bit smaller, because I love that snug fit on the box. So like pull it in a little tighter, and then if you do make it a little tighter, then you'll have a little trim here. But like again, you don't, once the box is finished, nobody's gonna look at it and say, oh my God, she trimmed a little off. They're gonna say, oh my God, she made a box for that stamp set. Okay. Okay. So now, where's my stamp set? Yay, okay, so that's the bottom. That time the trash actually made the barrel. I must be getting more comfortable with this. Isn't she awesome? Yeah. It's the whole, yeah. She's so smart. someday she's gonna do something awesome, and well, she does something awesome every day, but okay, so that was the bottom of the box, right? So we knew we had to cut it 8.5 by 11, and we scored it 1.5 all the way around. Okay. So now we're going to make the top of the box, and we wanted the top of the box to do what this box does, meaning the decoration cuts off. This one was halfway. This one we're going to make a little bit bigger in that the box is 1.5, but we want the top to be 1 inch tall. So that is where we'll score all the way around at 1 inch. And again, I can go backwards on this one because of the way the new paper cutter is set up. I could have probably did that with the 1.5 too. It's right on the 1.5 inch marker for this is right on the edge. So here's the 1 inch. You might hear my husband. We're on dueling. I do videos and he's on a conference call for work. So I went all the way around this time, and I'm gonna trim because I'm getting excited that I can show you the rectangle one. So with the rectangle one, you do need the second set of measurements because it's not a square. And then folding on all those score marks. So you can either trim it while it's in the paper cutter, or if it, like, it's really hard to see with the designer paper, you can trim it once it gets out of the paper cutter. It's even hard to see this way. I'm gonna go this way because it's easier to see. And remember, on this side, because this is the finished side, the top, we're gonna cut the little trims out on the outside instead. So 1, 2. So this is any size box that you want, any size that will work up to the paper that you have. And you can use all your stuff up. Like, you can just make crazy packaging for Christmas, and it's all gonna match. So awesome. So I am putting the adhesive on the top, you notice, on these little flaps, and those are the only thing that fold under. And again, when I go to assemble this, I can make it a little bit bigger than square. I have the option to kind of adjust when I'm at this point. And because it's on the flap, it just gets tucked in and behind. Oh, I didn't trim that side. That's all right. I can always trim it after. Okay, so then I just give it a little pinch where it's not perfect square. And then there's my stamp set box. So I can just assemble this, like maybe tie a ribbon on it and give it to my customer that placed that big order, and let her know just how special I think that she is by giving her a host stamp set. So, whew. All right, hang on, I'm gonna flip the camera. It really isn't like childbirth. What do you guys think? So we've got the option to make square boxes in any size or shape to fit any gift. And you can do the second box rectangle, and you can choose. Now, if you wanted the top to be 1.5, you could make the measurements the same, but then the cover would come down further. But yeah, that's box math decoded. So you can make it any size you want. So, do you guys have any questions for me? Did I blow your mind? Well, I love you guys. I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful Thanksgiving surrounded by people that you love and love you. And I will be back next week. And I don't know that it's going to be that cool because that was the bomb. And I was excited to be able to explain it out and give you a guide that you can actually print. So, and Laura, I'll look into updating the sheet a little bit. So, love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.